Man, Zac Efron looked jacked in this movie. I mean, look at this. The guy looks like he's ready to kick Batman's ass. Of course, Batman is the greatest, so that would never happen, but I think you know what I mean. Okay, so The Iron Claw, this movie is directed by Sean Durkin, and this movie tells the story of the Von Erich family, which I've never heard of. Maybe you have. I don't watch wrestling, therefore this was all new to me. It stars Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White, Harris Dickinson, Maura Tierney, Holt McCallany, and Stanley Simons. I hope I didn't mess up anyone's name, but as always, I apologize if I did. As I mentioned at the start, Zac Efron is in peak shape in this movie. I mean, Jeremy Allen White didn't slack either. None of the actors did. But I think Zac Efron's transformation was the most impressive. He plays a man with a chip on his shoulder. The chip being his father, who is a former wrestler turned full-time horrible father. And you really get the vibe that he cares a lot about the brothers. He almost seems like he is the father. He is the maternal person or the fatherly person who is trying to look out for his brothers. There is a brother that is older than Zac Efron's character, but Zac is the one who is there, who is present, who is speaking to the mom on his brother's behalf and trying to make sure that his brothers are not being bullied or mistreated by their father, who at times just forgets what it is to be a parent and only sees a goal. He only sees his kids as products, and Zac Efron is there to protect them. Jeremy Allen White was used sparingly in this movie, but his role was effective when he was used. Anyone who's seen the show The Bear on FX will know that this man is a great actor, and in fact, this movie also has some of his classic yelling. That's a thing in The Bear. If you haven't seen it, there's just a lot of yelling. I mean, a lot. And he does a little bit of that in this movie too. He as well has a lot of emotional moments, and he really brings it. Now, there are far too many characters in this movie for me to touch on all of them, but I do want to make a special mention of Holt McCallany. He's the guy who plays the father, and like I said, he is an asshole. He kind of reminded me of Brad Pitt's character in The Tree of Life. You probably didn't see it. A lot of people didn't. It's kind of an art house indie movie, but either way, this guy, you could tell he's just an old-fashioned guy who's just got an old-fashioned mindset, who believes women belong in the kitchen and boys should be tough. And Holt McCallany does a really good job bringing this character to life. He really makes you believe that he is this gruff, unlikable asshole, even though I can tell, and I'm sure you guys can tell, but Holt, you are a softie, aren't you? I bet you you're just a nice little teddy bear. Pinch your cheeks. If you're craving some more Holt screen time, you should definitely check out Manhunter on Netflix. That show was by David Fincher. If it's about guys that started the CIA or the FBI, one of those two. Basically, they are profiling serial killers. That is a great show. It got canceled, but if you want to see some more Holt, check that out. This movie has a very heavy subject matter at times. It's about wrestling, yes, but it's also about the pressure of being forced into something and what that can do to a kid. And I think that probably still happens to this day, where a father really has a dream for his kid. Oh, I thought you were going to be a football player. I thought you were going to be a lawyer. I thought you were going to be in the army. And just pushing kids to do this thing, and watch how it doesn't always work out. Sometimes it leaves the kids with psychological scarring. And this movie kind of touches on that. This movie is about a family of boys that didn't really probably want to be wrestlers, but their father was a wrestler. So in order to keep him proud, they try to pursue that dream as well. And it is heavy. It takes a big toll on some of these people. And this movie has some very dark stuff as a result. As I mentioned, if you are already a fan of wrestling, you probably already know this story, and you probably already know what happens in this movie. So I'm not going to give spoilers for those that haven't seen it, but yeah, this movie is surprisingly deep. There is way more going on than what I thought. This is not just about punching people and wrestling. But speaking of wrestling, I am never going to grasp why people find that entertaining. For one, they say that a lot of it is scripted. You know, the outcomes are actually predetermined. I don't know if that's true for all wrestling, but that automatically makes it a little campy, a little stupid, and just not as exciting. Also, just the damage and the physical nonsense of it all. Watching somebody get a bloody nose or a busted lip or a bruised eye, how is that entertaining? That is very savage. That is not what we are as people. Wrestling, in my opinion, is probably the remainder of Roman gladiator games and just watching people get hurt for sport. Back then, it was considered a form of slavery. We were making slaves do that. And yet now people are willingly doing this to each other on purpose. For money, of course, there's money involved, But just what do people see in this? I think it's just very barbaric. For me, it's very stupid. But if you enjoy watching people get beat up, good for you. I thought the director of this movie did a very good job telling a story that is both personal, yet also still has really cool, thrilling action sequences with the wrestling. I don't really like the wrestling parts. I like the other parts of the movie more, but you have to admire that the actors really gave it their all. They gained a lot of weight. They got super muscular, and they just all did a very good job. This movie is very well made from top to bottom. I don't have very many complaints. For me, an 8 out of 10. That is my opinion. Did you see this movie yet? What did you think of it? Please put your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you're looking for a way to watch this movie, it is available to stream now on Max. That is formerly HBO Max, if you don't know that, by the way. As always, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, you should be subscribing to my channel. And that's all I have to say. Later.